Hello everyone, today I'm going to make a video on how to recover the TP-Link TL-WR841N router from a bad flash. Say you put DDWRT on it, somehow it's messed up, or you put the wrong flash file version on it. There is actually quite a simple way on this router to restore it, but unfortunately it's not very easily found on the net on how to do it. So I'm going to make a video on how to do that. As you can see, this is the router, and it has, it's one of the #1 bestseller on Amazon, and I love this router. It's very fast, very reliable router, and as you can see, quite cheap, $18.99. I highly recommend it. So let's go take a look at the router first, see what's on it. You go to 192.168.0.1, so I'm going to do that and just put the default password in here, which is admin. And I wanted to show you that it's running the stock firmware right now, and that we're on let's see, firmware upgrade. The stock, well, we're not, and on this release right here, the 131129 release, and I believe that's about 3 versions back. Let's go take a look at TP-Link. Well, there's a link for it right there. There we go. And then we're going to go to download. And as you can see, all the routers listed down here. We're going to go to the TP-Link WR841N, which is right here. There we go. And you'll notice here that there's multiple revisions of this router. Mine's a version 9.2, which is a version 9. But there's a version 8, a version 7, a version 5, so on. You need to get the right firmware for your router to do this, okay? So I'm just going to go here and show you the versions of revisions of firmware that there is. And I believe the 1129 right down here is what I'm running, right? Yeah, and that's the earliest version. And even the earliest version of the stock router, which is version 9, has this feature in it, the rescue feature in it. So I don't know if this will work on other versions of this same router or other TP-Link routers. I know my WR841N actually has the same kind of functionality, but I may make a video on that as well. But just wanted to show you that I'm running stock firmware and that the router is currently working just fine. I'm going to make it crash. I'm going to put a firmware revision in here that isn't compatible, which will make the router get bricked, more or less. So let me just show you something here. I'm going to connect to it through a serial connection. I've connected to the router through a serial connection, and I'll show you what I mean by that here. This is my current rig right now. I have a CP2102 USB to serial adapter, or UART adapter, hooked up to the actual router itself, and I have my LAN cable hooked to the LAN port and to the back of the router. Now you're not going to have to do any of this. Your router can stay all in one piece. All you'll need to do is hook this cable to the router on one of the yellow ports, and the network cable on the other side to your computer in its network port. This is not necessary. I'm just showing you my setup so you can see what I'm trying to explain here. Now here's the boot up process of this router. I'm going to go right to the top. And you'll see it says U-boot over here, and it says Honeybee 1.1. Anyway, that's just basically the boot program and the specifics for the actual router at this point. But if you keep going down here, you'll see right here is auto upload firmware equals 0. Okay. If you trigger this to 1, this router will actually try and download a firmware from your computer from what is called a TFTP server, and to flash the actual router back to a working condition. Basically, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trash this router and bring it back to life. It's actually working perfectly right now, so the things I do for you guys. Like I said, again, you don't have to worry about this stuff, because I'm just showing you what's going on here, and when I'm recovering, it'll show you this happening too. But you don't really need to see this happening. You just need to set it up. Okay. So next, I'm going to trash this router and then show it to you in a boot loop. I've managed to put my router into a boot loop, and if you don't know what that looks like when you're looking at it, basically the power light goes on, then all the LEDs go on, then the power LED goes on, then all the LEDs go on, and it just keeps doing that over and over and over again, as you can see right here. So I'm just going to turn the power off on it right there. As you can see that it's actually rebooting all the time. And so now we're in a position where we can get at it to fix it. Again, don't worry about the serial interface. I just have it there to show you what the router is actually doing. You don't need to use that. I'm assuming you have access to the internet somewhere. If you don't have it at your house because your router's gone the way of the dodo bird, in other words, then the best way I would say is go to a friend's house, take a USB key with you, and download these couple of programs you're going to need to get. So first program you need to get, or piece of software you need to get, is the firmware for this router. So we go to TP-Link, go to support, go to download, and then scroll down to the wireless N300, the TLWR841N, which is what we're using. Now this may work for other TP-Link routers, but I'm not sure. I have a TLWR41N version 9. Again, I don't know if it works on the other versions. Maybe after I put it on the net, people will give me feedback and tell me whether it works or not on other routers. So I'm just going to click on that. And again, verify you're using the right version for your router. Otherwise, you're just going to make it worse. Now, the original firmware I had was the 13.1.129, so I'm going to download that. And it's going to go into my downloads WR841N directory. You put it where you want, and it's a zip file, so we have to unzip it after we get it into that folder. So I'm going to hit save, and so I'm going to open up my folder, go to downloads, and then to the 841N, and there's the zip file. So the best way to deal with that zip file is right-click it and choose, where is it? Extract all. So you click on that. Uncheck the show extracted files when complete. Just hit extract. Okay, and when it's done, you'll see the directory up here of the TL WR841N version 9 blah blah blah. So we're going to open that folder up, and then we'll see that there's the instructions on how to upgrade it and the bin file. That bin file is what's important. That's what the router's firmware is right there. So unfortunately, it's not called what we need it to be called. So let's go back to our little serial connection to that router. Now again, you don't need to have this. I'm just showing you where I'm getting this information. I'm going to put the name you need to use to recover this router into the description for this video. So the way you get into the recovery mode is you hit the reset button, which is right there. There's a reset button. It's the one closest to the yellow jack. And then you turn the power on at the same time. So reset first, turn the power on. So we're going to do that and show you what it looks like on the actual serial connection. There we go. So good enough. Now I'm going to do that. And hold it down for about 3 seconds. Okay, so there you see auto update, auto upload firmware equals 1. That means it's looking for that file. And this is the file it's looking for. WR, let's do that. Copy, I'm just copied it. And now that I've copied it, it's still in the boot loop because it didn't find the file. But I'll show you how to get that file into that router. So let's open up Notepad, just for references. And we'll make that big, but not that it matters. Okay, there's what the file's supposed to be called. WR841NV9 underscore TP underscore recovery dot bin. Now I'm going to put that into the video description as well. But for now, there's what it is. The reason you need to know that is because we need to rename the file that we downloaded, the firmware file, to that name, and that's this one right here. So the one that you extracted, so let's go back, downloads, WR841N, where I installed it. There's the folder, and there's the great big name on it. So I'm going to hit rename, and so, sorry, right click it, rename, delete all that, actually delete everything in there, and then go back to your, this is of course going to be in the video description, but I got it right here. So I'm going to hit rename here, delete it all. You could just do Control A, but I'm going to delete it all. And then I'm going to hit, as I copied it, I'm going to hit paste here. Right, so right click here, copy, right click here, paste. Rename, delete it all, right click paste. All right, and hit enter. Now what you've done is you changed the bin file to the correct name that the router is looking for. Okay, now we need to have we need to install something called TFTP software, and that is a file transfer software server basically that allows the router to take that file from your computer and put it on the router through the LAN cable. So don't be too afraid of it. This is a pretty simple procedure, but so let's get at it. Let's go back to the internet. Again, this is what second piece of software you're going to need. So we're going to go open this up, a new folder, a new tab, and I'm just going to type in now TFTPD. If you got a Google search, I'm using Chrome, so Google search is right in there, but that's the program you're looking for, TFTPD. I'll put links to all this stuff in the video description as well. So let's click on, well, there's what we found, TFTPD32. Go to the download link. I'm using Google, of course. And then you'll see a bunch of different versions here. Now, if you're using Windows 7 32-bit, then use the Windows Standard Edition 32-bit installer, right? TFTP 32 Standard Edition. It's the installer you want, not the zip, because then you got to unzip it and all that. And if you don't know what version of Windows you have, use 32. Okay, it'll work. I have a 64-bit edition, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go with the 32 Standard Edition. See what happens. It may not allow me to install it. We'll see. Okay, so download it. And again, if you're at another computer, like at your friend's house, download them both, and then you'll be safe, right? So I'm going to download it to the same place where I downloaded the other bin. And I'm going to go to that folder. And there it is. So I'm going to double click it. And then it says, do you want it? Yeah. Install it. Yes. Whatever. I agree. We'll just do the installation only. I don't know what else options are there. Yeah, installation only. Next. Install. It's working. So 32 will work just fine. And then hit close. Okay, so now you should have, if you just used all the defaults, I'm going to minimize this folder and this folder, and there it is, TFTPD32. Okay, so double click that, and it's giving you, my firewall is saying this blocks some of the features, blah blah blah. Allow I'm just going to choose allow TFTP server to communicate on these networks, private networks such as my home or work network and public networks. So just check the two boxes off and allow access if you're using the firewall. Okay, so there's TFTPD. It's up and it's running. Okay, now back to the serial connection. Basically, I'm going to put the IP address that you need to put in, but I'm just going to show you where I'm getting this IP address from. Let's go back up. And okay, just reset this. Okay, so you hold the reset button down and then power up the router and continue to hold the reset button down for about 3 seconds. It should work just fine. Okay, notice that it says, I'm looking for, here it says TFTP from server 192.168.0.66. Our IP address is 192.168.0.86. Okay, it's looking for this TFTP server, this program we downloaded. It's looking for that at this address, so 192.168.0.66. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is put that IP address into our network configuration. So go down here to the network, to my wireless connection or whatever your network icon is. Right click that, open Network and Sharing Center, then go to Change Adapter Settings, then go to, well, if you have a wireless network connection, then we're going to disable that, because you should be hardwired using a LAN cable from your router to your computer to do this. So disable all your other network connections that are connected. You don't want to accidentally flash the wrong router and get yourself into a lot more trouble. Okay, then we're going to right-click the local area connection, because that's where my router is connected. It's connected to this Ethernet cable, Ethernet card on my computer. So right-click that, Properties. Then we're going to go to TCP/IP. We're going to change it from Obtain IP address automatically to use the following IP address. And it's going to be 192.168.0.66. So we're giving the network card, then just click on the subnet mask. It should auto-populate by itself. The gateway is not important. Just make sure you get these numbers in there and hit OK. And OK again. Now you've given your network card an IP address of 192.168.0.66. Okay, so I'm going to close this TFTP program down just for a second, because I've done the change after opening the program up. So now we're going to go back to your TFTP program. All right, we're in the TFTP program. Then you're going to choose Browse, and then you're going to go to your download directory or wherever you put that file that you downloaded. Of course, it's got to be hard to find here. Here. Okay, downloads, and that's, I put it under 841N, and then under this TL blah 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 blah. Okay, so that's the folder we're going to go. That's the folder I put the recovery bin. I renamed the bin to recovery. So I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to say Show Directory just to make sure, and you see there's two files. There's the how to upgrade your TP-Link blah blah blah, and the WR841N version 9 _ TP _ recovery.bin. That's the file we renamed. So close it. Next thing we need to do, now we know that here we're in the right directory, and the TFTP server that's the root directory for the TFTP server. Anything that connects to the server is going to be looking for files in that folder. So next we go here, and you'll see a bunch of IP addresses. The one that counts is the server interfaces. So we're going to go to 192.168.0.66. Just highlight that, click on it, right? And now this server is waiting for something to connect to it right here at 192.168.0.66. Okay? The next thing we're going to do, I'm going to minimize this. Give myself some, I don't want to do that. Give myself some room here so we can see what's going on. And reset that. Again, you don't need to see this happening. It'll happen automatically anyway. Just follow my directions, as in, rename the file and set up your network correctly, and then hold your reset button down for 3 seconds while powering up the router. So we're going to do that right now, and it should automatically connect over here to this TFTP server, and download that file into it, and then flash it and fix it. So let's do that. Here's the moment. I'm holding down the reset button, and I'm turning it on now. 1, 2, 3. I let go at 3, and there you go. See? It just downloaded the files from there, and it says, okay, I'm erasing the flash, and it's doing a sector, well, it's writing something obviously, or erasing, one of the two. Yeah, erase something. Now it's going to copy this to the flash. And this is happening automatically. You don't have to do any of this. This just happens. As long as it found the file on your server, on your TFTP program, you're done. And it said done. And it doesn't look like it's rebooting over and over again anymore. Looking healthy. So I'm going to wait till that calms down. And you'll be able to tell that with your router by just looking at the lights. Again, you don't need the serial interface that I've got. It's just a nice to have. And I'm using it to show you what's actually going on with that router. So, next, let's go see if our little router is up and running. Actually, no. Next thing we need to do is to go back to our network configuration. So, right-click that, open sharing, network and sharing. Obviously, I already have it open, but change your adapter settings, and then go back to here to your local area connection, which is your LAN or your network card. Here we're going to go to properties, and then back to Internet Protocol versions TCP4. I'm going to double click that, uncheck that, and put this back to obtain IP address, an IP address automatically, and put this back to obtain DNS server address automatically. Hit OK. OK again, and the TFTP server crashes every time you do that, so don't worry about it. Just let it crash. Who cares? It's done its job. I'm going to hit cancel here and just close it up. So now we're going to open up the browser, and if you disabled your wireless card here, maybe enable that as well. I don't care right now, but don't forget to enable it if you did disable it, because otherwise you won't be on wireless. So we'll do that last. Let's just leave that for now. Okay, back to the browser. The default IP address for this router is 0.1, so 192.168.0.1. And there it is, TP-Link router back up. And it is the default firmware for this router that came with it. I'm going to hit exit here. And it even gives you the firmware version, the right number, and you're ready to go. So that's how you unbrick or recover a TP-Link WR841N router. It may work on other routers, so give it a shot. I mean, what do you got to lose? If your router is doing a constant reboot, this is one heck of a nice feature built into these routers to bring them back to life. So that's basically it. At this point, go back to your network configuration. So let's go here, open Network and Sharing Center, change adapter settings, turn your wireless back on if you turned it off. I suggest strongly that you do, that you only use the network connection to the router when you're flashing, and that you use a hard cable to do this every time. That's it. That's it for my video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video and it helped you out in some way, do me a favor, click on the like button right down here. And you know, if you wish to subscribe to my channel, just click on this link up here. And that should subscribe you to the Richard Lloyd channel, or Richard Lloyd USA channel. Okay, again, thank you very much for your time and watching.